Welcome to A Stride Above podcast, where our commitment to excellence in equine health and athletic performance unites us. Join your host, Dr. Alberto Rullan, as we trot through the essential topics that matter most to you and your equine family members. With over 15 years of experience in equine sports medicine and rehabilitation, Dr. Rullan is dedicated to navigating you through the latest innovations and essential insights in horse health. Together, we'll ensure that you and your horses always remain a stride above the rest.
Hey, welcome to another episode of A Stride Above. Today, I'm going to do a continuation of our previous episode on OCD. By the way, if you want to see a radiograph of what I'm talking about, don't forget you can go to our page, www.equinearthritis.info. www.equinearthritis.info. In this page, I'll show you a compilation of data over the years that I have seen, which are the most common causes of OCD, arthritis, joint problems in general. And then you're going to find a bunch of other nice links from this page on. A lot of information in this page. Again, it's www.equinearthritis.info. So, continuation of our previous topic on OCD, because this topic can get very, very hot in the equine industry. I'm gonna jump right away to the most controversial joint for OCD, which is the stifle. The stifle is a joint that can develop problems until very late in the life of the horse. A stifle could be perfectly normal when the horse is 1 year old, but then as the horse continues to grow until it's 2 or 2.5 years old, that horse can develop OCDs, believe it or not. I have had horses that we purchase when they are 1 year old at any sale. Then we take any radiograph for surveys on January or February, and boom, we see OCDs. We can see even bone cyst in these stifles. Why do I mention bone cysts? Because they're relatively common. And sometimes your veterinarian might talk about lucencies. There's a lucency on the stifle. What that is a bone cyst. I'm going to give you the layman's explanation for what a bone cyst is. It is a hole in the bone. That's what it is. It's a hole in the bone. Remember our previous explanation that there is a bone here and a bone here, and it has to work very nice and smooth, right, in order to have any movement. If that bone has a hole and that bone, the area, we call it a cyst, or better termed, cyst-like structures. Now, I can get very complicated and we can go into very finite granular terms because in the literature, we call them cyst-like structure because there's a catch. Most of them are not truly cyst. You know, you go to the dermatologist or you go to some doctor and they tell you have a cyst, you have a cavity that is full with fluid or with some material, and it has something that we call a lining around it. Scientific terms, nothing necessarily important that you need to know, because the end result is that this bone is starting to develop a hole, and we're going to call this hole many times a cyst. You just need to remember that if there's a veterinarian that's very academic next to you, it's going to call it a cyst-like structure because it looks like a cyst. Sometimes it behaves like a cyst. And that, some of them are part of this OCD situation that we're talking about. In addition, the stifle can have other OCDs in other areas, like the patella, a place that we call the trochlear ridges. And you can go to our webpage and you'll see all that. And it has two trochlear ridges, the medial, the lateral. And all these OCDs should be well monitored with radiograph constantly, because guess what? Some of them will disappear on themselves. Some of them will heal on them by themselves. Some of them will never bother the horse, and some of them will be very detrimental. So your veterinarian will help you decide which one is which, right? There are many things that we can do for these problems. For example, in the stifle, it's becoming very common to do stem cells after surgery or before surgery, to do what we call the screw placement across the cyst. You will start hearing more and more about it because it's actually a very elegant way to treat these particular problems. The surgeon can go in, do arthroscopy, and then they grab a piece of OCD and they take it out, and that usually works very well. A lot of times after the stifle gets surgery, they never develop problems. Now, other times, a low percentage of the time, they will have some sort of a reoccurrence, or it might turn out that the OCD was too big. The surgeon couldn't remove the whole thing, and then a piece was left, and then eventually they need to do surgery again. Many complications could happen, but most of the time, they actually do very well. Removing them do great. Putting the screw on the cyst or the cyst-like structure do well. One of the consequences that they have is that they can develop arthritis. So that's why it's so important to follow up, prevent arthritis. We like to do that with regenerative therapies, like we do stem cells or PRP or alpha-2M, amnion, etc. Some veterinarians just choose to do hyaluronic acid. But anything that you can do to prevent the arthritis post-surgery. I know that was a lot of information for you, but please visit www.equinearthritis.info and you'll learn more about it. And of course, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. I will gladly get back to you. You have a great day. Welcome to another episode of A Stride Above.